So a few decades ago, if you wanted some new drum samples or a sample for your beat, producers back in the day used to do this thing called crate digging. Now, because of all this but now because of all the digitalization of music, we've got things like Splice, we've got tons of drum samples being thrown at us and other softwares and platforms that can more or less give us the same thing. But if you're still wanting to find your own little gems and put them into your beats and mash them up, create something new, I'm going to show you how you can create your own. Not only that, I'm going to show you how you can take these audio and make them MIDI. So you can just use your MIDI to change the velocities or whatever it is you want to do. Sometimes when you're using audio and you're trying to get that realistic feel, you have to do a little bit more tweaking. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to show you how to get some new drum samples and then turn them into MIDI as well. So you can create new sample packs and stuff like that. Change up the sounds, make them new and unique to you. Put them in your productions. Let's get into it. You've done your digging, you've heard a song you like, or you like the drums in there. So what you can do, drop that into your session, line it up, and we're going to use stem splitter. Click on stem splitter, choose everything, vocals, drums, bass, and other, because we want it to split everything, and we just want the drums clean as possible. So that's what we're going to do. So we're waiting for Logic to decide when it's going to do that, and it's done it. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get done for copyright, but I will play a little bit of drums. Tell me if you know what it is without reading it. Cool. So we've got that. Nice, tidy. So say for example, you've got your BPM for the track and the drums that you've got similar to the BPM. Say it's the same BPM. So what I'm going to do, we can create a nice little 5-bar loop, nice little 4-bar loop, drag those drums out, get rid of everything else because we don't need them. And then create our little 4-bar loop. What we can do is chuck the BPM counter on there just to see if it's the same time. Just find the same timing. BPM. So that's saying 114. So now we've got our BPM. We created our little loop for our new beat. Now we can do a few things. We can drag the whole pattern into a quick sampler, which you just drag, hold, drop down to the new channel, click on optimized, and you can see the quick sampler has nicely sliced up all the different samples. Now you have all the samples mapped across your keys. Lovely. So now you've got all your samples mapped across keys. That's on Slice. So if you go to classic mode, it's just going to have the whole sample played across one key, and the higher you got the keyboard, the higher it's going to sound in tone and key. The lower, obviously, the lower, which gives us more scope, more room to be creative. But make sure if you're doing that, your follow tempo button is on, because if it's off and you go higher up the keys, it's just going to speed up. If you go lower, it's going to be slower, which is loads of room to be creative. I actually like the sound of that. Different. So yeah, if you want it to be in time, every time you got the keys, just click on follow tempo. One shot, more or less the same thing. So if you want it to be mapped across all your keys, just click on Slice, and you've got the option to change the sensitivity. So if you wanted it to be a little bit longer, so if you wanted more sounds across one key, then you just make it less sensitive. If you want it to be hypersensitive and chop nearly everything in that, you can. Now you've got a whole new set of samples. So over here on the amp, it says polyphony. Be sure to put that on mono. Especially if you're using a sample, like a longer sustained sample. Let's try the one shot. Right, so that's an example of, if it's on 16 polyphony and I press 2 keys, they're gonna overlap. You don't want it to overlap. So if you click on mono or 1, it's gonna chop the note. It's gonna chop it right off so it starts again. So there's no overlap. So you've got all these different functions down there on the quick sampler. I'm not gonna go into that. You can just play around with that yourself and tweak to your heart's content. So the other thing you can do is, if you just wanted, say for example, you just want a kick, we can just create one kick, and that will be our kick, and we can just name that kick. And now we've got that kick, we can create our own little drum pattern. Wait, no. So what I'm gonna do now is create a little drum pattern. We've got the kick, and you can do it 2 ways. You can go in and chop the samples yourself, which I'm sure there's a quicker way. Yep, if you just click on Control and X, and you can slice the samples, but I don't feel like that's very precise. So if I really wanted to, I'll do it manually. Just highlight and drag into your new space, click on to optimized. Now you've got snare. So if we, for example, and hold on, let's get a shaker as well. And the shaker. Right, now we're good. So we've got the kick. Let's start with the snare. And we press Shift and R, and that's going to bring up what we just played without having to press record. Then we're going to drop a kick in there. Shift and R, now we've got our kick. And we want to tighten that loop up. We're going to put it into 16A. And then we've got a shaker. Not the best drum pattern, but you get the idea. So now you've got your samples. You can play your samples on MIDI. You can chop your samples and create new sample patterns, drum patterns using just audio. But the video isn't about that. The video is about audio to MIDI. So now that you've got your samples, you can take the audio, make a new sample, mangle it, do whatever you want to it, create entirely new sounds with it just by being creative. Yeah, just be creative. Grab your samples, chop them up, make them different, and add them into your productions. So shout out IceBlue4713 for the idea for this video. Appreciate the comment and support on the channel. By the way, if you like these type of videos, I've got loads more. Links are on the screen. See you in the next one.